The next character, zhu, actually means to stop. So in China, when you live at a place, it's because you've stopped there. In English, we live because we're active. So we have the renzapong, the person. This right-hand component is phonetic zhu. It means the host or the master. Anciently, a depiction of a candle. So you can see the flame on top of the candle. A candle to the master of the house who died and is now an ancestor. But it's just phonetic here. It just means to stop or to live at a place. Pie, shu, dian, hung, shu, hung, zhu. The next character is su, which is the first character in the word for dorm. It also means to stop overnight. It can mean to moor your boat. So you've got a roof on top, and the bottom part is phonetic somehow. When it's on its own, it's pronounced bo. So anciently, there must have been some kind of connection. You've got a renzapong next to the character for 100. The character for 100 derives, which is pronounced by, is derived from the character for white, which is pronounced by, and that derives from the character for the sun. So you have the character for the sun, you add a dot to it, that makes it the color of the sun white. You add a stroke to the top of that, and that becomes 100 because it's pronounced the same. You add a renzapong, a person, radical to that, and it becomes your uncle, bo. But for some reason that's phonetic, and you add a component to the top of that, that's su. So there you go, you can remember all that. The roof, dian, hung, go, and then the renzapong, pie, shu, hung, dian, shu, hung, zhe, hung, su. The next character, sha, just means a shed. So it's a humble reference to a dwelling place. So over time, everybody being humble called their mansions sheds, sha. So su sha is a place where you stay. The top part is shows the division of things, rain falling down, and that is over a ceiling hung, and that ceiling is made of straw or thatch, and straw or grass is depicted like that, and the room underneath is ko. So you put those together, the dividing, the shedding of things, the ceiling made of thatch, and the room underneath. Here we go. Pie, na, hung, shu, hung, zhe, hung, sha, su sha. Hao is the next character. We've got the mouth on the top, and the bottom part is phonetic, also significant because anciently this cow meant to call someone by mouth, so to call, to shout. It still can mean that because that is the name of it's used in the name of trumpets or horns. So we have the mouth on top, shu, hung, zhe, hung, and then hung. And the next part, all the rest of it is one stroke. Shu, zhe, wan, go, hao. A suffix for enumerated things. The next character is household or house or room. So this is the top part, hu, is the leaf of a doorway. So we've seen in the traditional character for mun, or door or gate, you have these two swinging doorways, and that's a depiction of one side. And then just to remember, mun in simplified characters is written like this. The phonetic component underneath, fang, dien, pie, and then that thing underneath means place or square. It's just a phonetic in this case. So the thing having to do with homes, pronounced fang. Dien, hung, ja, hung, pie, dien, hung, pie. Do that pie first or you won't get the rest in the right place. Hung, ja, one, go, fang. That pie is probably a little too long, but work on that. The next character is an interval. So we have seen with the character to ask a question. One, a mouth in the doorway. In this case, it is the sunlight in the doorway, meaning an interval, a space, or in this case, a room. The sun in the doorway. So we start with dien, shu, hung, ja, go, shu, hung, ja, hung, jian. The next character means electric or electronic or even electronic, and it's used in that character. The traditional form shows the clouds of rain. So there's a rain cloud, and then it depicted something from which the lightning would come out. Dien was the character for lightning. In the simplified form, you take off the cloud. It's not all that necessary. And you have dien, which looks just like a TV with a cord. So it's electric. You can remember that. Shu, hung, ja, hung, shu, one, dien. Now we have the character for words. So in dien hua means electric words. Hua. We have two components that both derive from the same original meaning, actually the same even depiction. So yen comes from this yen, just a short form of it, to speak, which is anciently something like that, the tongue coming out of the mouth. The right-hand side, this component, actually is pronounced sha and means tongue. A chateau is a tongue. So you've got a tongue with a tongue. To speak, to express yourself, words, and so on. So here we go, the speech radical. Dien, hung, ja, go, pie, hung, shu. Shu, hung, ja, hung, hua. The next character is so simple, I should hardly even need to write it. Shu go, dien, dien. So that depicts very small things. One stroke. And so the two strokes to either side highlight that you're talking about this one small thing. Either that or you're talking about three small things. Anyway, xiao means small. The next character, ma, means a code, like an encoded number, a number that is encoded. So the radical for that is stone or rock. You've got this radical which depicts a cliff or hillside, an overhang, and a small thing at the bottom of it like a rock. That's where this comes from, and then the stroke is put into the middle just for the sake of the look of it. So if you think of an abacus in ancient times, now the old Roman abacuses, or abaci, not knowing Latin, I don't know how you would say it, they would have grooves cut into a board, and then they would move the stones back and forth in that groove to count with. So maybe that's where number and ma got connected to stone. Okay, so here we have hung, pie, shu, hung, ja, hung, and then ma, the right-hand side, horse is phonetic again, hung, ja, shu, ja, ja, go, hung. Now we're going to go through the numbers. So we don't need separate sheets of paper for this. R, 2, it just indicates 2. San, when you do that, the top is of medium length, the middle character is the shortest, and the bottom is the longest. We've already learned 4. Si. Just as a reminder, it's an indicator of a box. And then we've got a ba-looking thing in the middle to divide. Si. U is hung, shu. And then a hung ja, hung. Now in very ancient Chinese, it was written like this. But if you turn that X sideways, you can see how it's sort of twisted into a 5. And I want to come back here for 6, liu. It's a cover with ba underneath. So we see ba here on 4. We see ba in liu for 6. Another even number, also symmetrical. Now back here to 7. We go hung and then shu. 1, 7 also is asymmetrical. Now back here for ba, so we can see here these even numbers in a row all have that ba component in them. That might help you remember it. Jiu, hung, ja, go, pie. To me, that looks like a dragon, like the 9 dragons, but nobody else ever can see that in there. To me, that looks like a dragon's tail. So let's go through the numbers one more time so you can see some patterns and get the stroke order. E, R, san, si, u, liu, qi, ba, jiu, and shi for 10. That's extra. It's not even in the book yet. The next character we want to do is shou. So anciently, we've seen this already, that was a hand. But in this case, there may have been something held in the hand for this character, but it is a pie. Start with a pie, not a hung. Hung, hung, and then a 1 go through the middle of it. Shou. So you can see you've got 4 fingers and a 5th finger there at the end. The next character, Ji. This is an incredibly versatile character. I looked this up in my electronic dictionary and found 1,492 different uses of it in different words. And I remember that because that's the year that Columbus sailed to the ocean. So you've got a wood radical, and then Ji as in the tea table or jiga. The traditional character is uses the same Ji, but in its full form. There we go. Ji. I think I'm missing something there. Okay, jiga. Ji. This could mean machine. I have a suspicion that the original meaning of it was a loom or a frame for making cloth with, maybe not as fancy as a loom. It means a machine of all kinds. It can mean opportunity, crisis, and challenge, and all that kind of thing. So when people say in Chinese opportunity means crisis or crisis means opportunity, it doesn't come from this character. It's a mistaken idea. I'll have to tell you about that in class. So you have mu on the left side, a tree. I don't know if we've already gone through that. The tree shows the branches above, the roots underneath, and the stem going through. So that's the radical, and then the left side is just phonetic. Ji. The next character is like a school campus, and we have the wood radical again, and the left-hand side, jiao, means an exchange. So you've got a cover, and then this indication of crossing over. So it's basically these things. These are interchanges. Yao means changes, movement, motion, and it's taking place under a cover. It's just phonetic in the meaning for campus, but jiao means interchanging, interaction, and a campus is a good place for that to take place. Why is there wood or tree in the word for campus? Because I suppose the buildings were made out of wood. So here's the cover. So we do hung, shu go, pie, dien, dien, hung, dien, dien, pie, na, xiao. And the next character is Y, composed of two components, evening, xi, and bu, to tell fortunes. And if you remember, that's from doing the oracle bones, putting a question on a bone, applying the heat, it cracks. It says puk, which in modern Chinese is pronounced bu, to tell fortunes. In the evening, it's done outside. So you're telling fortunes outside. So the meaning of outside is what was conveyed from that character. So we have pie, hung pie, dien, shu, dien, Y. End of lesson 7.